Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Space Marketing Podcast. I don't have a guest this week because I am finishing my book. What is it, you may ask? It is the reason this podcast was born. Let me take you back a year ago. I had launched my first book, Space Marketing, Competing in the New Commercial Space Industry. A very nice person named Robert Ion from Leviathan Space Industries and president of Guayaquil Space Society reached out to me on LinkedIn. Robert asked me to write a book that focused on spaceports. Several times he asked me. He told me that there wasn't a lot written in this industry and it was starting to expand. He related to me that spaceports were important because this is where space begins. Well, he piqued my interest in spaceports, and I went to the Global Spaceport Summit last year, and that was held in conjunction with SpaceCom. Spaceports, they woke a place in my heart. When I was young, I used to create cities in my daydreams. Yeah, I know. It's not your normal flavor of daydreams. But how many of us space nerds have ever been accused of having normal daydreams? Anyway, spaceports can act like small cities, and many of the people that are developing them see them like this, such as Oklahoma Air and Spaceport and Houston Spaceport. So this spaceport idea mixed with my love of space and got my interest big time. Now, I believe experience is a great teacher and that there are things you discover when the journey is real versus just a theory. I also believe that my state and the people within it would benefit from the industry coming to it. I worked with teens in Civil Air Patrol. I started 2 squadrons and got the first-hand look of the power of aerospace to inspire these teens to go into STEM careers. And it just wasn't the teens that were inspired. Many of the adults too, including me. It is hard to teach others to follow their dreams and not have it rub off on you. My cadets encouraged me to follow my dreams as much as I did for them. They heard me and I heard them. That space, it inspires. The need is great for inspiration. The numbers prove it. Suicides and drug addictions are the highest in poorest areas. Kentucky has had a major industry collapse as coal has left our state. And Kentucky is not alone. People from all over the world need inspiration. So, with a leap of faith, I began to take my journey of establishing a spaceport in my home state of Kentucky. I decided to create a book that would help others bring space to their state or region or country, like Robert's Ecuador. The whole book journey has taken me way out of my comfort zone. I am an introvert at heart and have spent my entire career putting other people in the spotlight. But my desire to inspire and help others overwhelms the desire to stay in the background. Back to the spaceport journey. I started to look at what was happening in the spaceport industry, and there are a lot of very cool things happening. The first task was to create a document that shows people why they should care about the space industry. Many people are disconnected from their connection to space. They just don't think about space, even though they benefit from it in every aspect of their lives. They talk on the cell phone, they look at weather forecasts, and enjoy a good night's sleep on memory foam. There are so many things like medical advances to fire retardant clothing to protective coatings for their eyeglasses to food safety processes. Space is everywhere. And the space industry is exploding at a phenomenal rate. We have had some very historic moments these past few years. The Perseverance rover landed on Mars with Ingenuity flying in the Martian atmosphere. Space tourism has had 3 historic flights in 2021 and another in 2022. James Webb Telescope launched, and it's beaming back some incredible images and information. And then we go all the way to what happened this past month with Artemis 1 launching. Artemis 1 is kind of like a signal to a new era of space. And there are so many other events that are just too numerous to name here. So many interesting things are happening. So many technologies are advancing, and the industry is changing, like reusable boosters and new fuels like Via Space rocket that uses plastic bottles for rocket fuel. And then there's supersonic suborbital flights. I created a document that answered the one question: why does Kentucky need a spaceport? It was designed to give a brief overview of the space industry's economic forecasts and its opportunities. Key leaders like legislators want to know about money. They want to know about that bottom line. Where does it come from? And they want workforce development. Those are your key things. So this document created an attractive and easy way to read about space. And it was designed to plant a seed. It did that. As I developed the book, I wanted to have interviews from existing spaceports and spaceports that were in development and the tenants that were housed at spaceports to get their success stories and their challenges. But who has time for one more Zoom meeting? We are all a little zoomed out. So the idea of a podcast was born. This would provide marketing exposure for the spaceports and their tenants while giving me valuable information for my book. So this podcast launched in July. It has been invaluable to my book, but it has also provided so many other benefits I didn't expect. I have met a lot of really awesome people who are doing some amazing things. So my second book, Space Marketing, Spaceports, Communicating with Stakeholders, Communities, and Key Leaders, is approaching completion of the first draft. It is a combination of my career experience, my spaceport journey so far, and the interviews from the spaceport leaders with their valuable insight. As with my first book, Space Marketing, Competing in the New Commercial Space Industry, it is a look at marketing strategies through the lens of space. But it is marketing strategies that are relevant to other industries and businesses, not just space. Space Marketing, Spaceports is for anyone who needs to communicate with stakeholders, communities, and key leaders to start an initiative. I will be speaking at the Global Spaceport Summit in February, and I hope, fingers crossed, to provide a copy to each of the attendees. That is the plan. Next week, we will meet Christopher Allison from Sierra Space, because you just can't have a conversation about spaceports without the dream chaser. So I look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, a thought I want to leave you with today. Encourage and inspire. People do hear you. I heard Robert, and you never know the impact that you may have and the ripples that you begin. Encourage someone to do something hard and reach for the stars. See you next week.